Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League Show Week 3. I am your host Matt Starr. How is everyone doing today? I hope you're all having a great day. We have got some very exciting games coming up for you today. Let me just tell you that much. We're going to be kicking things off first of all with a top versus bottom clash between Inglorious Surfers and Long Island Goomys. Then we'll be get it, because we've got Wheel, the coach. Never mind the joke, it didn't land. We've got a local rivalry between myself and Dave, Bulu Boys versus Newcastle Thundurus. We'll be slotting back over at the bottom of the table. We'll be taking a look at Aurora Akuno taking on Shadow Kings, and finally be rounding out the show with the Toadstar Belgrade versus Miami Heat. That is coaches Weo and Latvian. Let's take a look at the league table coming into this week. That is the wrong one. We've got week 2. As you can see, Long Island Goomys planted right at the top of the table there, 2-0. All 4 of his games won. Obviously, last week was able to get the hot 2-0 over Gus's Aurora Akuno. Bulu Boys sitting there in second after their 2-1 victory over Shadow Kings. Miami Heat are also sat there in joint top of the league, 2-0 after the 2-1 victory over Newcastle Thundurus. Then we have Thundurus and Toadstar Belgrade, both on 1-1. And finally, rounding out the bottom of the table, we've got Shadow Kings, Aurora Akuno, and Inglorious Surfers all sat on 0-2. So, as you can see, that first game is looking very spicy. Obviously, Aaron yet to win his first game, never mind match of the season so far. And Silly's Long Island Goomys already looking very hot and very strong. So let's take a look at the teams. Obviously, last week we saw another different lineup from Silly's Long Island Goomys. Again, we didn't see the Water Urshifu G-Max, which was very surprising. We haven't seen that obviously since week 1, but obviously he does have that sort of flexibility to bring either Urshifu. We saw the Decidueye come out, and Fletchling really took a hold of the game. And that Weavile as well really putting in the work for Silly against Gus. Will we see the Water Urshifu? Is Dragazol going to make another appearance? Could that Gudra maybe come make its first appearance of the season? Who knows? We'll have to take a look at the game. Hopping on over to Inglorious Surfers. Obviously, 2 pretty difficult losses for Aaron to take, coming right off the bat. But, it's still early days. We're still only 2 weeks into the season. You cannot count Aaron out. Every one of the coaches in this league are very talented. Obviously tried to get the Trick Room off against Wheel last week, and unfortunately wasn't able to manage it. I would say we're probably going to see the Trick Room strat come out from Aaron, but I would think he's going to be a lot more prepared this week coming into it. Will we see that Hatterene G-Max again? Are we going to maybe see the Cloyster or Bolton come out this week? Obviously both yet to make an appearance in the season. But without further ado, let's get straight into the game. Alright, so on the side of Silly, we've got that Urshifu, but it's not the water one, it is the Dark Urshifu. So Aaron leading off with the Hatterene and Amoonguss, and Silly leading out with the Pink Urchin and the Weavile. No Lightning Rod on the side of Pink Urchin, but it's got that Electric Terrain, which could come in real handy for Silly later in the game. That Rising Voltage move is very strong in Pink Urchin. Obviously, the Weavile comes out. That Triple Axle move on the Weavile is very strong. What has Aaron got up his sleeve? Are we going to see him try and play that Trick Room off? Can he maybe get a Rage Powder going with the Amoonguss? What are we going to see here? The Fake Out comes out from Weavile. That stops the Rage Powder coming out. Max Lightning from the Pink Urchin. And that is Hatterene out of there straight off the bat. Turn 1. And that is strike 1 to Silly. That's the Trick Room setter gone. And that's really big news for Silly. He's now got that complete speed control. In comes Scrafty to drop the attack on both sides with the Intim. Are we going to see that Amoonguss staying against that Weavile? Obviously, it's weak to Ice type. You'd be expecting that Amoonguss isn't going to stick in, but you never know. Maybe Rage Powder can get something going with the Scrafty. But it is very much advantage to Silly right now. We'll wait and see what our opponents decide. Oh, okay, the swap out Alchemy comes in. Scrafty goes D-Max. Rage Powder comes out from the Amoongus. Max Rockfall hits at the Pincurchin. That gets the Sandstorm up. That'll be some good chip damage. Max Lightning comes out, hits the Amoongus, obviously with the Rage Powder. Amoongus tanks that very well. You know, he's obviously resistant to electric types, so that was a good move from Aaron there. What has Scrafty got in its locker though? Can it take out that Pincurchin? What could we see here? You know, Amoongus can very much Rage Powder again, and that potentially stops a Decorate from going up. You know, you don't want to decorate on that side of Cillian and end up buffing the Amoongus. Not that Amoongus would get any benefit from it, but still, it's you know, you've got to decide what you're going to do. Amoongus comes out with the Protect. Mystical Fire comes out with the Alchemy. Obviously, Amoongus gets hurt. Max Steel Spike comes out, and that's the Alchemy gone. Whether it was Sash or not, we won't know, but the Sandstorm up damage obviously took it out. And the Steel Spike gives Scrafty that defense buff and takes out the Alchemy. And then Max Lightning from Pincurchin does about 40% damage to that Scrafty, and Pincurchin's Dynamax is gone. Back in comes Weavile. Weavile's obviously, you know, a very strong ice type, you know, that triple axle. Triple axle comes in, it completely misses, but the Cloyster switch in for the Amoongus. Sash is on the Weavile, sorry, so the Sash was on the Weavile, my apologies. Rising Voltage comes out from the Pincurchin. It does around about 10-15% damage to that Scrafty, still good damage. Weavile dies to the Sandstorm damage though, so it is now advantage Aaron. In comes Goodra though, with full health. What can Aaron do in this situation against this Goodra? Obviously, Cloyster has the type advantage over Goodra, has those ice moves and the water moves as well, so you can't count it out. But is Cloyster going to be able to move first? Scrafty obviously just hanging on with a little bit of health there. It's got that defense buff, but obviously with such low health, I'm not sure it's going to matter too much. So what have our opponents got here? What have they got in their locker? Both biding their time, trying to decide what move to make, both psyching at each other out, waiting to get going. And in comes the Amoongus. The Amoongus swaps back in, the Thunderbolt comes out, Amoongus sponges that completely. A great swap in from Aaron. Iceland Crush comes out from the Cloyster, hits the Guru, takes it down about 25% off. That Rising Voltage takes out Cloyster. That's another Orco, and we are down to 2v2 once again. Both teams on pretty much the same health as well. This is absolutely scintillating stuff from our top versus bottom the table clash. You know, I'd argue that, you know, Silly does have the type advantage here. You know, the Gudra obviously a big special attacker. Pincurchin's electric terrain's obviously gone, so it's in a bit of a sticky situation. But you know, again, both sides are on about the same amount of health. It could go absolutely either way here. What have they got? What can Gudra do here? Gudra can go first if it's got an ice move, maybe that Amoongus is maybe gonna take the fall, and then that Scrafty can't really do a lot in that situation. And we'll see who's going to take this game one. But you know, close stuff. This has been a brilliant first game from both guys. They both played very well. Aaron's still managed to play pretty well, even though his Trick Room setup went down 10-1. You know, it's not been like the previous weeks where it's kind of been a sort of domino effect. Aaron's been able to sort of stall out and take the game in. Fake Out comes out from Scrafty, stuff that Pincurchin. Ice Beam comes out from Gudra. As we said, that Amoongus is gone. Scrafty's got it all to do on his own against Gudra and Pincurchin. And you've got to say that's probably going to be game to Silly unless Scrafty's got something in its locker. What can it do here against Gudra and Pincurchin? Yes, you've got to expect that Silly's probably going to tie this up now. Dracometer comes out from Gudra, and that is 1-0 to Silly. Great game from both players. You know, absolutely props to both. And it's still autoplay. I think it's a very wide open game. This could very well go with game 3. In we come then with game 2. It's the same sort of lead from Aaron, Hatterene, Amoongus, and Weavile Pincurchin comes out again from Silly, so we've got the same two facing off against each other. Is Aaron going to try and get that Trick Room off though? Obviously Hat died, you know, it was awkward in that 10-1 in the first game, and you know, he obviously doesn't want to risk that, you know, whether it's his Trick Room setter going down or not, you don't want to lose him on 10-1. Scrafty swaps in for the Amoongus, Hatterene comes out with the Protect, Triple Axle hits from the Weavile. That's not going to do a whole lot. It's going to take Scrafty down by about 40%. Max Lightning comes out with the Pincurchin. Hatterene just sponges that up with the Protect. And that's not a bad start for both players. You know, obviously Aaron taking a little bit of damage, but you know, if he can stall out that Dynamax from the Pincurchin, then you know he's in a pretty good spot. If he can stall out the Dynamax and Electric Terrain, you know, obviously that Rising Voltage from Pincurchin such a strong move in Electric Terrain. In comes Sudowoodo though, swaps in for the Weavile. Scrafty comes in with the Rock Slide, aiming for that flinch. Max Lightning comes in, a great swap in from Aaron again. Amoonguss sponges in that Max Lightning damage. It doesn't care about the electric. It doesn't care about the electric damage. Amoonguss protects. Close combat comes out from the Scrafty. That Sudowoodo is O-code. What a move from Scrafty. Able to move first. Max Lightning comes in from the Pincurchin under the protect. Amoonguss is gonna just love that. It tanks that. It sponges it up. And it is advantage Aaron. But Weavile comes back in, as we've mentioned a few times. That triple axle is a dangerous move. But obviously, as we've also mentioned, that 90% accuracy. You know, it can maybe hit 3 times, it can maybe hit 1 or 2 times, or it can miss completely. Cloyster swaps in for the Scrafty. Triple Axle comes out from the Weavile. That is the Amoonguss gone. And that is 3v3 now. It's been evened up from the side of Silly. That Dynamax from Pincurchin has gone though, so that's very important. If Aaron could just stall out that Electric Terrain, that Pincurchin's going to be really stalled out. And you know, Pincurchin's strong, but it's not the strongest sort of defensively. Again, we've got a hell of a close game on our hands. You know, Cloyster obviously has that dual typing, so if Cloyster can get a move off firstly. But in comes the Scrafty again, gets the Intim drop on the Weavile. That could be really big. Hatterene coming in with the Protect. Triple Axle gets stopped by that Protect. Rising Voltage, but the crit! Oh, the crit comes out from the Pincurchin. That could be really big. This is now 2v3, Hatterene versus Cloyster. Oh, how important could that critical Rising Voltage attack be? This is looking troublesome now for Aaron, and unless he can turn this around, this could be another swift 2-0 on the side of Silly, and we're in real trouble now. Can Aaron mount the comeback here though? It's still not all over. You know, Cloyster's still sat down full health. Oh, the Weavile swaps out. In comes Urshifu. Hatterene G-Maxes. Ice Shard comes in from the Cloyster. G-Max Smite takes out that Urshifu. Gets the confusion on the Pincurchin. That Pincurchin's then going to hit itself through the confusion. What gameplay there from Aaron. Just waiting patiently to just trigger that G-Max. Obviously, he didn't want to go for that Trick Room. He's just went, oh, attack. Unfortunately, the footage does freeze a little bit here. I will let you know what happens once the footage comes back. He was just waiting on here. See, I'm trying to get it to come back. Triple Axe comes out from the Weavile, knocks a Hatterene down. Life Dew comes out from the Cloyster, gives that health boost. G-Max Smite comes out, knocks out the Pincurchin, and all of a sudden, in the space of 2 turns, it's advantage Aaron. Hatterene's, you know, just hanging on there, but Cloyster's on full health. Weavile's on full health also, but it's got that confusion. Max Guard comes out from Hatterene, stops that Triple Axle, what a play. Liquidation comes out from Cloyster, does about half damage to that Weavile, and drops its defense. Obviously, Weavile's going to be moving faster here, but, you know, if Cloyster can just hit another Liquidation here, that is going to be game 2 to Aaron. Hatterene goes down to the Triple Axle, which is unfortunate, but Cloyster comes out the Liquidation, and that is 1 apiece. Aaron with his first game win of the season, all to play for going into this game 3. This is spicy stuff, as you would say. Absolutely unbelievable, Jeff, as a famous football commentator would say. And here we go then, game 3. Hatterene comes out, but there's that Boltund. That Boltund we mentioned pre-game. Obviously, we've not seen it as of yet. And Silly comes out with that Weavile and Sudowoodo sort of combo. So 2 different leads from both sides. This, again, could go absolutely either way. That Boltund, you know, is it going to be running competitive? You know, there's no Intims on the side of Silly, but you know that any stat drops and a competitor's gonna love that. Double Protect comes out from Hat and Boltund. Sir comes out from the Weavile. Double Protect, but that Weakness Policy gets triggered on the side of Sudowoodo. Max Rockfall comes in. That's still going to do a chunk of damage, about 40% through the Protect, and sets up that Sandstorm, which could be really huge. Now, what can Aaron do? Now, that Boltund obviously is going to be the speedier on Aaron's side. Whether it outspeeds Sudowoodo and Weavile, we'll have to wait and see. But Hatterene swaps out. In comes Cloyster. That triple... What a switching. Cloyster just eats up that Triple Axle damage like it's just nothing. Charm comes out from the Boltund, drops that Sudowoodo's attack. Max Rockfall comes out. Obviously, that Boltund's a little bit sort of... not spongy, but kind of squishy. Boltund goes down, but it's done its job. It's dropped that, 2 times attack that Sudowoodo had built up. Intim now comes out from Scrafty, drops that Sudowoodo's attack once again, and that Sudowoodo's been completely nullified on the side of Silly. You know, I'd almost argue he's almost wasted his Dynamax. Yes, he's got a kill and he's got the advantage, but you know that you'd think that Sudowoodo's now in a real world of trouble. If that Scrafty can get a close combat out or something, it's gonna go down. You know, what has Weavile got in its up his sleeve to stop this Cloyster and Scrafty? Weavile comes in with the Protect. Icy Crash from the Cloister just knocks it down by about 15%. Ironhead obviously hits the Weavile with the Protect. Max Overgrowth comes out. It does about 50% Cloister, but that attack drop and the Intim drop on Aaron's side working its wonders. Cloister restores a bit of HP with the leftovers, and that Grassy Terrain restores a bit of health on all sides. And, well, yes, still advantage Silly, but, you know, that Sudowoodo's Dynamax is now over, and obviously we still have yet to see that Dynamax or G-Max from Aaron. Obviously it would be the G-Max Hatterene. He's brought his G-Max this game. No G-Max on the side of Silly, so that's why we've seen, you know, he's got a free pick to Dynamax. What can Aaron do here to swap it up? Hatterene comes back out. Triple Axel comes in with the Weavile, but it only hits the one time. Liquidation comes out. That Sudowoodo is gone. Great move from Aaron there. The RNG may be benefiting him a little bit, you know, getting a bit lucky with just that one hit with Triple Axel, but that is the risky run, running a 90% move. Pinkirchen now comes in, sets up that electric terrain. Obviously no sleeps can go off. Whether we'd be seeing that or not, I don't know, but you know, that at least prevents that and gives Pinkirchen that rising voltage potential. Scrafty comes back in, drop the Weavile attack once again. Triple Axe comes out, Hatterene protects. Rising voltage hit, no crit this time. Does about 75% damage to Scrafty, and it's 3 apiece, but Silly is looking in a very strong position. Both Pinkirchen and Weavile, you know, pretty much on 100% health, and Hat and Scrafty looking low. Hatterene now G-Maxes though. Fake Out comes out from the Scrafty, so that Pinkirchen do anything. Triple Axel comes out, that's going to take out Scrafty. Oh man, what is going to happen next? G-Max Smite comes out, the Pinkirchen is gone. Confusion hits the Weavile, and it is now once again a 2v2 running into turn 6. Cloister and Hatterene versus Goodra versus Weavile. Hatterene is going to have that type advantage over the Goodra, as does Cloister. You know, both have super effective damaging moves against that Goodra, but that Weavile is moving so fast. What can it possibly get going? Triple Axe comes out, it misses the Hatterene. That could be really huge. Sludge Bomb comes out from the Goodra, knocks Hatterene down to about 10% damage, but gets the poison off. Life Dew comes out from Cloister. How big could that be? G-Max Smite then comes out. It doesn't quite take out the Goodra. It's got about 10% HP left. Both Weavile and Goodra confused. Oh my goodness. This could go absolutely either way. This, you know, both Hat and Goodra sat on about 10% HP. Hatterene with the poison. Cloister sat on this. Ice Shard comes out though. That the priority move. Cloister takes out the Goodra. Triple Axel only hits the once on the Hatterene. Max Flare hits the Weavile, and that is gonna be game number 3 to Aaron, and he gets his first win of the season. Massive congratulations to Aaron. What an absolutely phenomenal opening game for week 3. Aaron, yeah, gets his first win of the season. Hands Silly his first loss of the season. That'll be Silly moving to a 2-1. Aaron moving to a 1-2. And that's going to be really great for Aaron, you know, just that confidence booster. Obviously, we're still in early days, you know. Even if he'd went 0-3, there's no doubt in my mind Aaron would have been able to still do something in the league. You know, nobody would be counting him out. But strong showing from absolutely both teams. That is what we love to see in this league. You know, both two, you know, well-matched teams going at it. You know, well played Aaron, just playing that patient gameplay, just waiting for that Dynamax and the electric terrain to go out. So I spoke to Aaron after his game. We actually conducted the interview yesterday. So I'm going to pass it over to the interview now. We can have a listen to what Aaron's got to say. All right, everybody, welcome to this interview. We've got Aaron with us on the call. Aaron, how are you doing?
All good, my friend. All good.
Good. Glad to hear it. First of all, congrats on your first win of the season. I'd say long awaited. Obviously, it's only been 3 weeks, but were you feeling any sort of any apprehension before that game? Obviously, it was a top versus bottom clash, the first one we've had so far.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like you said, I looked at his team and being at the top of the table, I was like, okay, this is going to be, you know, quite rough. And my ultimate goal was to get the Trick Room up.
Yes.
But as you saw from the game, I was unable to even get that up. So
yeah, the Trick Room didn't quite get up again, which is a shame. You keep trying it. It will get there eventually.
Yeah. I'm going to keep trying. Keep having a go.
But I mean, I'll be honest, like the team seemed to work really well outside of Trick Room. You know, the 2 games you won, the Hatterene really came in strong.
Yeah, it did. So I actually prepared myself this week just in case if Trick Room didn't go up, that I would actually be bulky enough to take hits.
Yeah.
And it actually proved good.
Worked really good. Oh, that's good to hear. And obviously, we saw that Bolton come out with running the full support Bolton on there. Do you think that that charm play really changed the game? And it was it game 2 or game 3?
I think it was game
Game
2.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh no, it was game 3.
it was
It was
game
the last
3.
game.
It was game 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that charm paid off because like I said, I wasn't. I had no idea what to expect from the pseudo wudo, so that's why I did the double protect on the first turn just to see what happened.
See what you do. Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good call because that weakness policy came out, and then I thought to myself, okay, yeah, I need to get that attack down quick.
Yeah, I mean, like even though the button fainted straight off, it did what it needed to do. It got the job done, and you really you walled out the Sudoku. So speaking about the team, did he do anything sort of surprising like strategically, or was there any of his mons that he brought that you were really surprised to see?
Actually, the pink urchin was a little bit surprising.
Yes,
but
yeah.
not that surprising because of how slow it is, and if I did get Trick Room up, it can still do
works.
some damage. However, I was surprised to see it Dynamax. I was taken aback. I was like, whoa, okay. And then also being electric terrain instead of lightning rod ability.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a twist. But that pink urchin was a threat throughout the entire throughout all the matches.
It did a lot of work, yeah. And we were all, me and Weo, obviously we were watching. We were very surprised to see Dynamax straight away. Were you expecting it to Oko Hatterene that game 1?
No, I was not.
No.
I was because actually I was contemplating on whether to put the sash on Hatterene in those scenarios.
Yeah.
And maybe I should have, but I mean Hatterene, I just played around with him in the sort of 2 and 3 games, the second and third game, should I say? Sorry. So I played around with it because I knew he was just going to want to KO that Hatterene again.
Once the Trick Room set had gone.
I had to make sure that I stalled out that Dynamax.
Absolutely, yeah. So obviously we saw in the game the switch-ins and switch-outs from you sort of really worked in your favour. Obviously, a lot of the time Cloyster came in on the triple axle slot, which really worked in your favour. Do you think those sort of those players made a big impact to the game, or like what did it do what you expected them to do?
Kind of. I mean, I looked at the game. I've watched the game a few times now, and luck went both ways in certain scenarios.
Yeah.
Like I think it was the first game or the second game where Scrafty was hit by a crit.
Yeah, it was the first game, I think.
Yeah, and that crit actually really mattered. But then I got lucky with the with the triple axles, yes, it's a 90% accurate move, so you do have that risk. But I got quite lucky with the sense where he only did it the once, like got the one hit or missed entirely,
Yeah.
So yeah, those moves are, it's a dangerous thing to do because of course you can miss. And yeah, I did get fortunate, I must admit, in some cases.
Oh, absolutely. I think RNG obviously comes into to the play as well. But I think obviously both the games you won and the game Silly won, I think maybe the RNG did change it, but the wins were completely on merit in my opinion. Like you both played extremely well. We were all on the edge of our seat watching that. So, what were you feeling? A big sigh of relief when that game 3 ended? How were you feeling after it?
Yeah. So I mean, after game 2, I was like, "Ooh, okay, this is really close."
Yeah.
But actually, in game 3, I was a little bit more confident. I was like, okay, I know exactly what to do now.
Yes.
And I think he led with the same 2. Like,
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. But I had a little bit more confidence. I was like, okay, actually, I know what to do. I need to stall out the Dynamax and then sweep at the end.
Yeah. You were able to sort of patiently play it really well. Obviously, you stall out his Dynamax, and then as soon as Hatterene got his G-Max up, that G-Max Smite is just such a bulky move. It's such a good move, and obviously gets that confusion off as well. Speaking of the confusion, it's a strange one. I've seen a few games where confusion can really make a big impact, but it seemed like it didn't seem to affect it. I think he maybe hit himself in confusion maybe the one time out of the 3 or 4 times he used it.
It was just the once. Yeah, Pink Urchin hit itself once, and then Weavile, I think, only had one turn of the confusion.
Yeah, and it
And
just
yeah,
snapped out of it straight away.
yeah. So the confusion really didn't, only that once,
Yeah.
didn't have an impact.
So what was going through your head in that game three when obviously Gudru came out and sludge bombed and he got the poison off on your Hatterene? Was it sort of nippy bum time, or were you sort of confident the life dew was going to be enough to sort of keep you in?
No, actually, when that sludge bomb, I didn't actually know he had it. I was like, oh no, he's got sludge bombs. So it hit me, and I was like, okay, I took the hit, and then the poison came. I was like, oh,
Oh
that's not
gosh, yeah.
good. So yeah, I actually was a bit shaken there. I was like, oh no, okay, I've taken such a hard hit. Life Dew gave me a little bit of health, but not that much. And also the Starfall didn't KO him, and
Yeah,
I was like, oh no,
I was shook at that. I really thought, I mean,
yeah,
that fairy move
the
was going to just
smite, sorry.
oko, yeah, the Gmax smite.
Yeah, he more than likely put some special defense investment, which is a smart thing to do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you put the EVs in the correct place, and it really changes the way the game goes for you.
Yeah, but then luckily, like I said, in my content that Cloister, I gave it Ice Shard for those exact
Yes,
reasons,
yeah.
so that I can get that just that one hit and it's priority. So
Yeah, so like
yeah.
obviously again we none of us were expecting Cloister. How are you feeling about bringing it in that game and in the future? Do you think do you feel a little
do
bit
you
of
know what?
regret not bringing it before? Was it kind of like, oh, I'll chance it and see how it does here, and then it's
Yeah, I was really apprehensive to bring it. I'll be honest, because Cloister, you don't see it at all really
no.
in teams. So, but actually after that game against Silly, I'm actually considering like maybe bringing it more because it helps out a lot.
It does a lot of work, and I mean it actually lived. Was it a max overgrowth? It lived as well.
It did, yeah,
For
yeah,
Sudowoodo, which was really huge. So yeah, again, obviously you both played extremely well. Those were really close games. So on to next week, you're obviously going to be playing Dave, who's coming off the back of two consecutive losses. So are you feeling
yeah.
a lot more confident after getting that first win now? Is that giving you the boost? How are you feeling going into next week?
Yeah, I think so. It's given me the boost. But of course, I've got to be careful because Dave, he's got some terrifying Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Charles. I mean, I know he's not had much luck with the Charizard G-Max, but that the G-Max Charizard is frightening.
It's a
So
big
I
threat.
do need to be careful.
It gets that wildfire off, and that's chip damage coming on your side for the next 5 or 6 turns. You've got to be
Yeah.
really
I mean,
careful
I'm
for it.
hoping that my Gastrodon might put him off a bit to bring it, but who knows?
Yeah, a Gastrodon could be a really good bring, with the
It could.
Storm Drain.
Yeah, it really could.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you very much for stopping by for the interview, Aaron. I appreciate it.
No worries.
And again, congrats on the win. And
Cheers.
we'll catch you soon. That was, of course, our friend Aaron, the coach of Inglorious Surfers. Inglorious Surfers. That's a good one. Inglorious Surfers. Inglorious. I like that. That should be a new team name. Inglorious Surfers. Nice. Yeah, Aaron speaking on getting his first win there. Again, big thanks to Aaron for that interview. Is much appreciated. We're not going to waste any more time. Inglorious. Yeah, that's becoming a meme now. I can see it. We're going to move straight into our game two, and game two is an absolute doozy. Let me just tell you. We have got my team, Bulu Boys, and Big Dog Dave's Newcastle Thundurus. Obviously, a bit of friendly rivalry between us both. We've been long-time friends, and I've been really looking forward to this fixture ever since I saw it come up on the schedule list. And both teams are looking really solid going on. Obviously, last week, Dave unfortunately was handed his first loss playing against Latvians Miami Heat. Played it really well though. Obviously, did get the forfeit loss for one of the games, but you can't take anything away from Dave. He still played phenomenally well. Played Lat really close, especially in that game three. So you definitely can't count him out. That we might see that G-Max Charizard again. Obviously, we saw it debut last week. It didn't do a whole lot. It was beaten out pretty quickly in both the games it was brought, but it can still do a lot. That G-Max Wildfire is really huge. Azumarill seemed to do quite a lot of work last week, and those instant swap in. So I'd be expecting to see Incineroar come in to get those intimidates. Could we see maybe the return of Aegislash? Obviously, Aegislash is Newcastle Thundurus' kill leader and did a lot of work game one, match one against Dogsy. maybe we might see something completely different. It's very hard to tell. Dave's team is very it's very flexible, and it can run all different ways. But it is mostly a hard trick room team. But you never know. You could see a maybe speedier Charizard come out this week. And obviously on the side of Bulu Boys, I think it's more than likely that the Rillaboom doesn't come this week. Rillaboom is very, very weak to that Newcastle Thundurus team. It is currently one of the kill leaders, but I would hope that Matt is going to bench it this week. Centrescorch and Diggersby have been a mainstay in that Bulu Boys team and have been really, really putting in the work, especially week one. Could we saw Ice Cube come out last week against Dogsy. Okay, it wasn't very effective, but could we possibly see it make another appearance? That Heracross again did a lot of work week one. Whether it works in this scenario or not, I don't know. But could maybe Matt use Ditto to his advantage, or maybe that Chansey Shuckle duo, or maybe just play that stall out game? It's a very dirty way to win, but who knows what we could see happen in this game. So without further ado, let's swap it into our game. Bulu Boys versus Newcastle Thundurus. And as you can see on the side of Matt, we do see that Ditto on the lineup, and Chansey and Maractus. And Dave starts out with that Ferrothorn and Dusknoir. Matt starting with the Centrescorch Diggersby, that very trusty old duo. I would think we're going to see that Centrescorch Gigantamax first turn, just to get that Centinferno set up, get that trapping ability set up, just so Dave can't get those swap-ins. Dave does swap out the Ferrothorn for a Azumarill, keeps in the Dusknoir. He's wanting to get that Trick Room set up. High Horsepower comes out from the Diggersby, hits into the Dusknoir, and the Centinferno takes out the Dusknoir. No red card this week, and that is one point to Matt. He has got the advantage. I think Dave was maybe expecting Matt to hit into the Ferrothorn there. That's why he swapped into the Azumarill, but Matt read that situation perfectly and was able to take out that Dusknoir. There's no Trick Room set on the side of Dave, so Matt is going to have the speed advantage. Obviously, we're not 100% sure what Dave has in the back. It could be that Steelix, it could be the Charizard, or the Aegislash. We'll have to wait and see. That Diggersby doing big damage though first time, and Centinferno now has a Azumarill trapped in, so Dave cannot switch that out until Azumarill goes down. Ferrothorn comes back in. Obviously, is a mainstay in stall teams. Could possibly see that Leech Seed and Body Press comes out. Protect comes out from the Diggersby. Protect comes in from the Ferrothorn as well. Centinferno hits into the Ferrothorn. That Protect isn't going to save it from that Centinferno damage. And because of that Assault Vest, that Scald from Azumarill doing about 10% damage to Centrescorch. Really, really not hurting it very much while it's sat in G-Max. And, that's already... Ferrothorn's in a bit of a difficult spot up against that Centrescorch. High Horsepower comes out. It doesn't quite take out the Ferrothorn, but the Iron Barbs and the Rocky Helmet knock Diggersby down by about 30%. Max Flutterby comes out onto the Azumarill, knocks his special attack down even more. Icy Wind comes out from the Azumarill. Now that's big. If he can drop the speed a bit more with those Icy Winds, he can maybe get Matt down slower than him and get that speed control. Leech Seed comes out from that Ferrothorn though, and a Citrus Berry from Azumarill takes it back up to just above half health. That Ferrothorn's Leech Seed's going to keep it in the game a little bit longer, and obviously now that there's no G-Max, Ferrothorn can comfortably sit there and get some Protects going. So we'll see what happens here. Protect comes out from the Ferrothorn as we expected. Leech Life comes out onto the Azumarill, gets us Scotch back up a bit. Thunder Punch comes out from the Diggersby, and that is the Azumarill gone. That is advantage Matt is 4v2. Ferrothorn just hanging on through that Centinferno damage through that Leech Seed. That Leech Seed could prove really useful. And in comes Aegislash, so no Charizard game one. Aegislash running with the balloon this time, so no weakness policy as we saw in week one coming out from the Aegislash. And Diggersby's in a bit of a spot with that Leech Seed, but if he can get a hit on that Aegislash. Aegislash goes to Dynamax. Ferrothorn gets the double protect off, stops that Flare Blitz from taking it out. Aegislash goes for the attack, hits the Max Phantasm, knocks Centrescorch down to 35% HP. Obviously, White Smoke stops any stat drops. That Diggersby is getting lower and lower. That Ferrothorn again just hanging on through that Centinferno damage through Leech Seed. You've got to think that if that Leech Seed doesn't go off, that Ferrothorn is gone. And Dave still isn't completely out of this. He's played patient. He's waited to use his Dynamax. And Aegislash might still be pretty squishy, but it can do a lot of work. Ditto comes in. Ditto transforms into the Ferrothorn. That's the first time we've seen the Ditto. Max Guard comes out from the Aegislash. Triple Protect doesn't quite work off for Dave. Barbara, the Ferrothorn goes down, but that Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet takes Centrescorch down 5%, and that Flare Blitz damage. And you've now got 2 Mons on Matt's side that are pretty low on HP. It might be a 1v4, but that Aegislash can still do a little bit of work. And Aegislash is pretty fast. It's one of the faster ones. Matt hitting the Leech Life there. I'm not too sure on that play, but it does pop the balloon at least for the Diggersby to maybe come back in. Max Airstream comes out. That Scent Scotch is gone. He gets the speed boost. Leech Seed comes out from that Ferrothorn though. Matt using that Ditto to full advantage. He's going to get that health sap every time. Torjicus now comes in. What can he do on this side? Obviously, Torjicus is going to be weak to that Aegislash. With the steel move. What can Torjicus muster up and Ferrothorn here? Obviously, Ferrothorn protects though. Torjicus comes in with the Yawn. That could be really big. If he can get that Aegislash put to sleep, that is going to be Dave done and dusted. Unless he maybe gets a 10-1 wake up, he's pretty much in a bit of a position here. I think Matt on Matt's side, he was still thinking that weakness policy was out. Protect comes out from the Torjicus. Air Slash comes in, takes out that Diggersby, so it's now a 2v1. Ditto comes back in, and well, the Aegislash is asleep, and that is going to be game 1 to Matt. Shadow Ball comes in and takes out the Aegislash. A few misplays on both sides there, but Matt coming out with a win in the end, a pretty clean victory. That double in on the Dust Noir really paying dividends on Matt's side. And we go into game 2. Scent Scotch comes again, but this time we see Charizard and a Azumarill. Now I'm going to expect that Charizard is going to get that G-Max straight up to either get that Wildfire off, or maybe a Max Overgrowth into Diggersby if it's fast enough. Scent Scotch G-Maxes as we expected, so does Charizard. Who's going to move? Tornedge comes out and Charizard's gone in one hit. That's an Orco. The G-Max is gone 10-1. Centinferno goes into the Azumarill. Obviously, I think Matt was hoping to maybe double up in that Charizard. That doesn't do very much damage to the Azumarill, but it does trap it in. That Azumarill now can't swap out. Now, Dusknoir comes in. This is still not completely over. If Dusknoir can get that Trick Room up, Dave can get speed control, and it's not over till the fat lady sings. Thunder Punch comes out from Diggersby, doesn't quite take out the Azumarill, does activate the Citrus Berry. Centinferno comes out onto the Dusknoir, takes it down to about 5% HP. Scald hits into the Scent Scar, so that's not going to do much to Assault Vest, and in comes the Trick Room. Oh, and this could be big. If that Dusknoir has Pain Split, he can stall out Matt with those Pain Splits and keep Dusknoir on the field for as long as possible. Get a few maybe. We saw Rock Slide on it previously. Could he maybe do some damage with that against Scent Scourge? Azumarill gets a protect. Will-O-Wisp comes in on the Diggersby, stops its attack. Centinferno hits into the Dusknoir. That's the Dusknoir gone. Thunder Punch obviously stopped by that protect play, and that Diggersby's in a bit of a spot now with that burn damage. Obviously, its attack is going to be half. In comes Ferrothorn though. Ferrothorn is in a very bad spot here. It's obviously, it's not weak to Diggersby, but that Center Scorch obviously has that Flare Blitz, and he's in a really bad spot. Obviously, we know Thunder Punch is on Diggersby. Knockoff comes off from the Scent Scotch. Does get hit by the Iron Bars or Rocky Helmet damage, but it does knock off the Rocky Helmet. Thunder Punch comes out. Azumarill doesn't quite go down to it. Azumarill managed to hang on that Leech Seed as well, buffing Ferrothorn's health back up. Center Scotch now down to 17% HP. Dave, there's still a win condition here for Dave, but it's looking slow with that Azumarill down to about 1% HP. Protect comes out. Unfortunately, I skipped the gameplay there, but Protect came out obviously on the side of Ferrothorn, and Azumarill went down to that Leech Seed damage. I'm sorry, not the Leech Seed. The bug move from Center Scourge, obviously just sapping that health and was able to take out the Azumarill. Body Press comes out. Diggersby lives with 1% HP. Flare Blitz comes in, and that is Ferrothorn gone. That is the swift 2-0 Matt dispatching of Dave fashion. And wow, I don't think anyone was expecting that Stone Edge to take out the Charizard in one hit, but that Diggersby, coming in clutch with the Orcos. Week 1 was we saw it come out in turn 1, week 1, game 1 against Aaron, and there again, it's took Charizard completely out of the game. Doesn't get his Gigantamax. There's no Wildfire. There's no advantage to Dave. And then once the Dust Noir goes down, okay, he gets Trick Room up, but it's a 2v4 situation, and Matt actually doesn't lose any Pokemon on his side, and that is a big loss on Dave's side. That's now 2 losses in a row for Dave. Hopefully he won't be beating himself up too much about it. As we keep saying, we say it every week, there's plenty of Pokemon still to play, and we still have playoffs, so Dave's still very much in with the fight. Obviously, we'll see who Dave's opponent will be for next week in just a little bit. But for now, we're going to move on to our Game 3. Game 3, we have our bottom of the table clash. We've got Gus's Aurora Akuno versus Dogsy's Shadow Kings. Obviously, I think Gus maybe could have pulled something out against Sealy last week, but unfortunately, after a bit of an honest mistake, brought in the wrong team, he took the forfeit loss in the 2-0. So Gus currently sat on no wins. Obviously, Dogsy's Shadow Kings was able to take a game off Matt's Bulu Boys last week. But still, both sat on an 0-2 record, both looking to get their first win of the season. Gus has been pretty stubborn to be keeping with that GMAX Lapras Spring. We're typically going to see that with the Dusclops to proc that weakness policy, set up the Trick Room. He's got Whimsicott on his side, which can either run Trick Room or Tailwind, which is really a huge advantage on Gus's side. Could get speed control on both ends of the spectrum. And typically we've seen that Vikavolt come out now. Vikavolt is a pretty slow Pokemon, doesn't really work outside of Trick Room, but is a very, very big damage dealer. Can do a lot of work. We've seen the Alolan Executor come out once or twice and Tyranitar, but can he maybe bring a little bit of a different lineup here to take out Dogsy's Shadow Kings? Obviously, on Shadow King's side, we've seen that G-Max Butterfree. It came out week 1 against Dave. That Befuddle did do bits, but Dave was able to patiently play it out and just wait and able to stop it from really affecting him. Week 2, he didn't bring it at all, but that Politoed, Poliwhirl lineup with Mienshao and Excadrill did a lot of work. So, Dogsy got a game win with that lineup, so could we maybe see him stick to a sort of winning formula with it? We obviously saw the Indeedee Male come out in week 1 as well with that Slurpuff. Slurpuff with the Misty Seed as well, paired with Indeedee Male can do a lot of damage, and that Hitmonlee as well, with the Bulldoze. Obviously, he was running Scarf at week 1 with it, but could swap it up to maybe just try and deal as much damage as he can to Gus. But without further ado, as I say again, we'll hop in to our Game 3 of the week. Aurora or Akuno versus Gus's Shadow Kings. And as we see, the Dusclops Lapras duo comes out again, and it's Excadrill Butterfree on the side of Dogsy. A bit of a different lineup than we've seen, but that Excadrill comes out again and the Butterfree. Lapras protects, Brutal Swing comes out, is going to hit all the mons on the field, takes Dusclops down to about 50% HP. That Befuddle comes out though, does a bit of damage to Dusclops, but gets the poison and the para on the Dusclops. Trick Room still goes up though, which is huge. And that poison damage is not going to really affect Lapras too much. Protect comes out from the Excadrill. Rock Tomb out from the Dusclops. Procs that weakness policy. Does drop his speed as well, which is super useful. G-Max Resonance comes out, and that G-Max Butterfree is gone. That is a great turn 2 from Gus. Advantage Gus, and what a great start. Dusclops obviously gets parried, but the Lapras with the max guys, it takes out the Mienshao. Brick Break comes out from the Excadrill. Does break that Resonance screen. But that there's already a 2-mon advantage for Gus. Painswick comes out from the Dusclops. Dusclops back up to above 50% HP. Resonance comes out, gets that Auroraville set up again, takes out the Excadrill. Brick comes out from Hitmonlee, does take out the Lapras, but it's already too little too late. Dusclops parried again, and that Thunder comes out from the Hitmonlee, and that is 1-0 to Gus. What a hot start from Gus. Wasting no time at all getting that Lapras set up. And we're going to see a different lineup from Dogsy. Mienshao coming out with the Butterfree, but it's the same again. Lapras and Dusclops on the side of Gus, again, stubbornly sticking with it. Butterfree goes big. Knockoff hits into the Dusclops, which knocks off his mental health. And Max Phantos comes out, and that Dusclops is gone. The Trick Room setter is out, unless he's got Whimsicott still on his side. Blizzard comes in from the Lapras and misses both sides, so in comes the Vikavolt. Lapras goes to G-Max. Blaze Kick missing on the side of Mienshao. That could be really huge. Befuddle comes out and gets the sleep and the poison, though. That Lapras is asleep. That could be really huge. Thunder misses on the side of the Vikavolt. Thunder, not a great move when it's not in the rain. Because Combo comes out and that G-Max Lapras is gone. And so does the Vikavolt to a max Airstream. And in turn 3, Gus has got 1 mon left on his side, and this is looking very, very promising for Dogsy. Blaze Kick comes out from the side of Mienshao. Hurricane hits out of the rain on the Whimsicott, and 4 turns. It's 1 apiece. Fast-paced stuff. Yeah, the RNG really, benefiting the side of Dogsy. We see a different lineup from Gus. The Lapras comes out with the Whimsicott. Obviously, Butterfree. Mienshao comes again. Mienshao with the Fake Out on the Whimsicott. Stops any speed control coming up. Befuddle comes out from the G-Max Butterfree, and dual sleep on the side of Gus. That is an absolutely awful way to start the game. Dusclops comes in. Can it get any Trick Room set up? The Close Combat comes out. Lapras just managing to hang on there. Does proc the weakness plus with that. Lapras is still asleep. Max Airstream comes out. It gets a crit on the Dusclops, which knocks it down to about 30% HP. Close Combat comes out again from the Mienshao. That Lapras is gone. The G-Max is gone on the side of Gus. Max Phantasm comes out on Butterfree. Dusclops is also gone. And that's going to be just Tesla, the Vikavolt, and Whimsicott left on Gus's side. Obviously, Whimsicott still fast asleep. Blaze Kick comes out from the Mienshao. Doesn't quite take out the Vikavolt, but does get the burn. Hurricane hits again on the side of Dogsy. Unbelievable. Thunder hits as well on the side of Vikavolt. The RNG really, really hitting home with Dogsy here. And Hitmonlee comes in the feint. Close Combat comes out. That is going to be game 3. Dogsy getting the win. And, well, that was over in a flash. I will say that unfortunately I wasn't able to record that game live, so that was from a replay camera. That's why it was a bit more fast paced. Imagine not making your montage coffee. The double sleep, as someone just mentioned in chat, Aaron just mentioned in chat, really huge, that game 3. You know, that double sleep doesn't come out. It's maybe a completely different game. And those Hurricanes hitting twice, you know, once in game 2 and once in game 3. Really, really huge on the side of Dogsy, you know, able to take out that Whimsicott. Thunder missing as well from Vikavolt. You know, it is a low percentage chance hit outside of the rain. That is the risky run, but obviously if you could get the rain set up with that Max Geyser, he's in a better position, as it proved game 1. But unfortunately, Gus handed a 3rd loss of the season. Dogsy getting that first win of the season. Gus, you know, he can take something from that game. He won game 1. That's his first game win of the season. Hopefully he can build upon that. Obviously, you know, there's still a long way to go. You know, he might be 0-3 and pointed to the bottom of the table, but you can never count him out. Gus is a strong player. He's a solid player. You know, he played very well week 1 against Lat, unfortunately, but got 2-0'd. And, you know, again, he played pretty solidly against Silly week 2. And Dogsy, you know, building upon that game 1 win against Bulu Boys last week, you know, gets the victory. You know, he said afterwards in our Discord room that he felt it was quite lucky and was a bit of a dirty win. But, you know, those bottom of the table clashes, that is the way sometimes they work. You know, it gets scrappy, it gets dirty, and, you know, when you're looking for that first win, you'll try anything to get that first win. So, you know, moving on, we've got our final game of the week, and we have got Wheels Toadstar Belgrade against Latvians Miami Heat. Latvian coming in with the advantage in this one. He's 2-0, unbeaten so far. Obviously dropped that game to Dave, but that was through a forfeit. But, you know, regardless of that, hasn't lost a game yet. You know, brought something a bit different against Dave. Obviously, the Cinderace didn't once G-Max. We saw the Blastoise, Talonflame, Driftblim, and Krabby, you know, Quadro doing really solid work. You know, that Hyper Cutter on Kingler, sorry, not Krabby, really coming in useful. And, you know, Dave having no answer to the Tailwind and the taunt play from Talonflame. You know, once Lat got that speed control, it was going to be very hard to come back. And that Blastoise really just ran train alongside the Kingler. Obviously, week 1 we saw the Cinderace Kangaskhan duo. Kangaskhan with that scrappy ability can be really huge against ghost types. Obviously, on Weo's side, you do have that Dragapult with the ghost type. Could be really, really big against that. But obviously, one thing that Lat needs to watch out for is that wheezing on Weo's side. That neutralizing gas, neutralizing all abilities. You know, if Weo's able to get that switch in on the wheezing, stops that fake out, or, you know, a double edge coming in, that Dragon Ball can start to do a lot of work. And obviously last week we saw Gliscopod absolutely run house against Aaron. You know, it got 7 kills in 2 games. Very strong. We haven't really seen very much of the Dragon Ball Colossal lead too much. You know, Weo's not been too reliant on it, which I think a lot of people were expecting coming into this. But props to Weo. He's been able to play around his team. As I said, obviously, Gliscopod, Serena, Seismitoad, you know, putting in the work. That's obviously not a count out. Lat's got a very, you know, flexible team. You know, we could maybe see that Slowbro come out, the Galarian Slowbro with that quick draw. Obviously, Beware, very, very bulky, strong Pokemon, did a lot of work week 1, and Driftblim as well. You know, maybe it was just cannon fodder week 2, but you can't count it out. It's a strong Pokemon. Whether he'll set up the weather with Torkoal, we'll see for Cinderace. But we'll jump straight into our game. Toadstar Belgrade versus Miami Heat. In we go. Game 1, Serena and Dragapult launching on the side of Weo, and we've got Kangaskhan and Talonflame on the side of Lat. Talonflame, obviously with that Tailwind, is going to try and get speed control as quickly as it can. Kangaskhan, you know, it's got that scrappy ability. It could do a lot of damage to that Dragapult if Weo is not careful. One thing that Latvian is going to have to watch out for, though, is that Queenly Majesty is potentially running on the side of Weo. Obviously, in previous weeks, he's run Sweet Veil on it, but, you know, that ability is there. It does stop any priority moves going off. Seismitoad swaps in for the Dragapult. Tailwind goes off. The Queenly Majesty stops any priority move coming off from Kangaskhan, the Fake Out, and the Max Knuckle comes in for the Pokemon to give the Seismitoad and the Serena the attack buffs, and that is a great start from Weo. That's a very important switch in. You know, that priority we said about the Queenly Majesty, we warned everyone about it. It's a very, very useful ability. You know, it's just good for stopping Fake Outs, and has been known to wall Rillaboom. No Rillaboom on the side of Latvian, obviously, but you know, you can never be too careful. So Latvian does have the Tailwind up. You know, that's probably what he wanted from turn 1. You know, that's not a terrible turn 1 from Latvian, but a strong start from Weo, going with that Dynamax straight off the bat, and getting those attack buffs. We'll have to wait and see whether that Seismitoad is running the attack or special attack. But Talonflame goes with the Dynamax. Max Flare comes out. Okaberry, though, on the Serena. Brick Break comes out from Kangaskhan, so Serena only down to about half health. Drain Punch comes out from the Seismitoad, takes out the Kangaskhan. Max Airstream comes in, hits the Talonflame, and that is now a bit of a speed buff on the side of Weo. Whether it's going to be enough to outspeed the Talonflame, I wouldn't be too sure. Talonflame is very speedy. But in comes Pinsir. We've not seen Pinsir on the side of Latvian yet, so that's a huge bring. You know, Pinsir's got a pretty wide move coat, and obviously could be running maybe that Moxie ability that it shares with Heracross. So Weo's going to have to very much watch out for that. If that Pinsir gets running, I guess those attack buffs, he's going to be in a world of trouble. But you know, it's advantage Weo at the moment. You know, that Kangaskhan's gone down. That's really huge news for that Dragapult later on. If Weo could just stall out that Tailwind, it could be pretty good. But the Max Airstream comes in, the Talonflame does about 70% damage to Todo. X-Scissor comes out from the Pinsir, doesn't quite take out the Serena. Liquidation hits at the Talonflame, not quite taking out the Talonflame either. Max Airstream, though, from the Serena takes out Pinsir. That's a 4v2 now, advantage to Weo. And yes, he might be low on health, but you know, that's a very strong start. I think he was maybe a bit surprised that Liquidation didn't take out the Talonflame, you know, for super effective damage, but still a turn of Tailwind up for Latvian, so, you know, he might be down to 2, but this is definitely not over. Obviously, on the side of Weo, you've got Serena and Todo down to pretty low health, but there is a speed buff. Max Airstream comes out, though, takes out the Seismitoad, gives the Blastoise that speed buff, gives the Talonflame another speed buff, and Water Spout from Blastoise takes out Serena, and there you go, tie game. It's 2v2. Yes, that Talonflame's only sat on about 20% health, but you can never count it out. But in comes Dragapult, who's going to have that, possibly that speed advantage over the Talonflame, but maybe that speed buff from the Max Airstream is going to be enough. And of course, the Duraludon on the side of Weo. Obviously, he's typically running that Stalwart ability, so, you know, it can be redirected by Follow Me, so that's going to be pretty big to note from the side of Latvian. And yes, both sides have burnt the Dynamax, but it's still very close. The Sun is still up, which is going to be an advantage for Latvian's Talonflame, because potentially running that Heat Wave, you know, it can hit. If it hits, it's not the most accurate move, but if it hits both mons, it's going to do a lot of damage. Tailwind comes out on the side of Talonflame. Dark Pulse hits into Dragapult, takes about half damage. Solar Beam, though, hits into the Blastoise. Blastoise with a Rindo Berry, managing to just hang on. Thunderbolt from the side of Duraludon takes out Blastoise. And this is looking like a game 1 win for Weo. What a start. Again, a really, really close game. Heatwave comes in, doesn't quite do enough to take them out. Scald comes out from the side of Dragapult. And that is game 1 to Toadstar Belgrade. Weo with a great start in that game 1. Really close stuff. Again, you know, all weekend we've just had close games. And game 2, we see that Weezing and the Dragapult come out. Clefairy comes out with the Slowbro as well. That Clefairy is going to be running an Eviolite and probably a Follow Me to try and get that Trick Room set up on the side of Slowbro, you would expect. And obviously, a good thing for Weo is he's got that Weezing, which is, you know, going to stop any abilities going off. Max Phantasm goes out. The Follow Me obviously stopping it hitting that Slowbro. Takes Clef down to about 5% damage. The Taunt comes out, though, from Weezing. Stops Clef from doing any more Follow Me's, but Trick Room does go up, which is very big. Obviously, at the moment, that's going to be very beneficial to on the side of Lat. Dragapult's a very speedy mon. Slowbro is not. It is in the name. But you've got to think, if he's maybe got that Talonflame in the back, that or Kangaskhan, that could be quite scary. They're not going to benefit from that Trick Room, and maybe Latvian's playing to the late game. We'll have to wait and see. And it depends what maybe speed stat is. If he's brought Pinsir potentially, Pinsir's not known to be too fast, but it could benefit from the Trick Room, or maybe a Tailwind. But it's still to play for. That's only 10-1 over and done with. That Weezing's just going to sit there and play annoyance, not going to let any abilities go off. Slowbro does Dynamax though. Max Mindstorm comes out from the Slowbro, but that Papaya Berry stops the Weezing from going down. Will-O-Wisp comes out from the side of Weezing. That's going to give an attack drop to Slowbro, but Slowbro is a special attacker though. Max Phantasm hits at the Slowbro, doesn't get the kill, which is very surprising. I would have thought the Phantasm would take Slowbro out, but it hangs on, and that could be really huge for this game. Pinsir still sat on the side of Lat, obviously takes no hits, just the double up into the Slowbro there on the side of Wio. That Pinsir is going to be very attackingly strong. It's a bulky Pokemon. It looks big, it looks mean, it can do damage. Can either team stall out the other team's Dynamax though? Protect comes out from the Weezing, that could be big. Max Phantasm hits from the Slowbro though. That does about 40-50% damage to the Dragapult. But Throat Chop from the Pinsir, that is Dragapult gone. That is advantage to Lat in game 2. The Dynamax is gone from the Dragapult. Not able to get another attack off on the Trick Room. That is unfortunately how it's benefited Lat. In comes Golisopod though. Golisopod now can do a lot of work, but he does need to watch out for that emergency exit. If it gets below half health, it's going to yeet itself out of there. It's going to switch in, and that is the sort of downside to the ability. But of course, Weezing is still in the game, so it does nullify that ability. If Weezing can stay alive, Golisopod can sit and tank a few hits potentially. Very, very strong attacker is Golisopod if he's running maybe Choice Band on it. But Max Mindstorm comes out from Slowbro. Just about hangs on from Golisopod, and Golisopod takes out the Slowbro. Ben comes out onto the Pinsir. High horsepower though takes out the Weezing. And there is a 3v2. That Pinsir's got the Ben, but has now got the Moxie going off. So it's going to be sat probably on about neutral attack. That Pinsir can still do a lot of damage. We've still got a ton of Trick Room to go. And in comes Clefairy, and in comes Duraludon. Now Duraludon's in a good spot because it can be redirected by the Follow Me. But you've got to remember that no priority moves are going to be able to go off in that Psychic Terrain. So if obviously no first impression of the side of Golisopod, or maybe if it was running a Sucker Punch, it can go for that. That Psychic Terrain is going to nullify that. So Trick Room, still another time to go. It's very much advantage Lat. Protect comes out with the from the Clef. Poison Jab hits at the Pinsir, does about half damage. X Scissor though is going to take out Golisopod. Moxie comes out again in the Pinsir. Flash Cannon into the Clef. Unfortunately, that is going to be Duraludon stuck in a bit of a sticky situation. Trick Room does go down though, and Duraludon still sat on full health. You can't count it out. Could we see maybe the Latvian being handed his first 2-0 loss of the season? That could be a really, really big victory for Wio, after that win last week. The Flash Cannon comes out from Duraludon. Shadow Ball hits into the Duraludon. And this could go either way, but the Talonflame is still in the back. My apologies, there was still Talonflame in the back. That's my bad, I miscounted. And I think that's going to be it, unfortunately. 2v1. Flare Blitz comes out from Talonflame. It's going to take that recall damage. Flash Cannon hits into the Talonflame, but that Shadow Ball is going to take the Duraludon out. And that is game 2 to Latvian. We're going to see yet another game 3. And again, both game 1 and game 2 very, very, very close. We are saying in chat we all miscounted. Yeah, it's easy enough done, We're going to see Serena and Seismitoad on the side of Rio though. And Talonflame and Pinsir this time on the side of Lat. Going for a different tack, maybe trying to get rid of that Serena early door so you can stop the priority moves going off. Talonflame is still going to try and get that Tailwind, but while Pokemon is on the field, the Serena, that Gale Wings is not going to give it a benefit to a flying move. Pinsir goes Dynamax, as does Seismitoad. Serena with the Protect, Tailwind comes out from Talonflame. Max Flutterby from Pinsir hits it into the Serena, knocks it down about 50% HP and drops that special attack. Rockfall comes out from the Seismitoad, and it got a special attack drop, but still did quite a booky amount of damage. So it looks like that Seismitoad is running it's an attacking Seismitoad, not a special attack. Is Lat going to be able to identify that and maybe put a stop to it if he can, maybe get some attack drops of some kind? he's maybe in a better position. But the Sandstorm is up. That could be really big. It's going to be doing that chip damage each turn. Tailwind is up on the side of Lat though, so is that Serena going to maybe live another turn through Max Flutterby? It's hard to see whether it's going to happen, but if Rio can maybe take care of that Talonflame, stop the Tailwind from going up again later on, or maybe take out that Pinsir, he's going to be in a very strong position. Again, you don't want Pinsir to get that Moxie set up. It gets a 1.5 times buff from Moxie, and you're going to be really in trouble. But still auto play for. We're moving into turn 2 now. What will we see on either side? Both keeping their cards held close to their chest, taking their time patiently, maybe trying those mind games, deciding what to do. They can play patient. And Dragapult swaps in from the side of Rio. Flare Blitz hits into the Dragapult. Dragapult's going to tank that. Max Flutterby hits into the Seismitoad. Again, I don't think Lat has identified that it is a special attacking. It's not a special attacking Seismitoad. Toto getting the Max Quake off, which gives them the Def Boost, which is going to really help against that Talonflame, who's running a mostly special attack build. Obviously, Pinsir's going to see no problem there, but that's a big move from the side of Rio, and you would hope that Lat's maybe identified that those special attack drops are doing nothing to Seismitoad. He's just tanking them again and again. They are going to maybe affect the Dragapult, but Brave Bird comes out, takes out the Dragapult. The Max Flutterby taking Seismitoad down to 10% damage. Talonflame taking a bit of chip damage from that recoil, but Max Rockfall does take out the Pinsir, and Talonflame sits there opposite Seismitoad. That Tailwind has got a turn to go. We've still got Sandstorm up, and it is one apiece. We've got 3v3. Golisopod comes out, and in comes the Blastoise. And what can this Blastoise do? If the Blastoise is maybe running, maybe an Ice Beam or something, it can maybe do a little bit of damage to the Golisopod. But Sucker Punch comes out from the side of Golisopod, takes out the Talonflame. Water Spout though hits into Seismitoad, and Seismitoad is running Water Absorb. That is big news on the side of Rio. He gets that health back, and the Drain Punch gives him a little bit more of a HP boost. And this is problematic for Lat. That Golisopod, if it's running any kind of physical bulk, a close combat or something, that Kangaskhan's going to be in a world of trouble. And you would hope that Blastoise is running something else other than water moves, because it can't really do anything. In comes Serena. Rockslide comes out from Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan identifying that swap in. And Darpulse comes out on the side of Blastoise. And you've got to think that maybe Blastoise isn't running any of the water moves. Drain Punch comes into the Kangaskhan, takes it just above half HP, gives Seismitoad that bit of that HP boost back, keeps Seismitoad in the game. And it's still advantage Rio at this point, 3v2. Rio's Serena is going to stop any priority moves going up, but they double into Serena, takes it out. Drain Punch comes in again. That Seismitoad almost back up to full HP. That Kangaskhan is just about hanging on. Back in comes Golisopod. It's 2v2. We're all evens here, but Kangaskhan's in a world of trouble. And obviously Blastoise as well has no way to stop the Seismitoad at this point. I wouldn't have thought if that Kangaskhan goes down, Lat has got a lot of problems on his hand. He can Darpulse all he wants, but that Seismitoad's going to keep Drain Punching and just keep buffing its HP up again. Rockslide comes out, is super effective against the Golisopod, but just doesn't really hit it. Darpulse comes out, hits into the Golisopod. Golisopod lives that Drain Punch, takes out the Kangaskhan. It is 2v1, close combat into the Blastoise. Blastoise just about hanging on. It is looking very much like it's going to be a Game 3 victory for Rio. What a win. Just at a loss for words. Scald comes out, does take out the Golisopod as a consolation prize. That Drain Punch gets the kill. Game 3 win. Rio wins that one. 2-1. And wow, Hans Latvian, his first loss of the season. Rio on a roll, gets a second win in 2 weeks. That's going to be big news for the league table. And what a win. Again, our first and last games, close as you like, coming right down to the wire, I think, obviously, I don't think Lat knew about the water absorb on the Seismitoad, just maybe thought it was running a Swift Swim, and has totally misjudged that. And at that point, if that Blastoise isn't running anything on the water moves, it can't do anything. And that Drain Punch is a great pick on the side of Rio. But you've got to hand it a Lat. Obviously, he took game 2, played into the Trick Room really well, has 2 different speed control setters on his side. Absolutely props to him. He was able to identify that Wheel's team was mostly pretty fast in going in that game to stop the Dragapult from doing anything. And you can't take anything away from both coaches. Both played that absolutely brilliantly. We're going to try and throw it into an interview with Wheel right now. I'm going to just hop into the voice chat right there, and we'll see if we can get a hold of Wheel. And we can maybe talk about that game. But yeah, absolutely, again, scintillating stuff from both coaches. Really, really chuffed with that game. I'm chuffed with all the games this weekend. They were really, really fun to watch. They're really, really fun to commentate over. That's what I was really wanting. Hello, Wheel.
Hey.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm going well. How are you?
I'm great, man.
Oh, there he is. There's Jürgen Hopp on screen. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I cannot see it at all.
Oh no! Well, first of all, congratulations on getting the win. A very, very hard fought victory. How were you feeling going into that game? Were you feeling any nerves going into it? Obviously, you knew Lat was 2-0 going into it, and it is a strong player. What was sort of your game plan going into it?
Well, Mr. Star, the way I see it, I'm the best player in this goddamn league. It was a free win. It always was. I'd had a bit of Red Bull. You might have been able when we were playing the game. And, free win.
Very bold words from Wheel there. So, obviously the Trick Room came out in that game too. Was that something you were prepared for from that for the Galarian Slowbro, or was that kind of a sort of surprise pick for you?
There are no surprises when I play this game, Mr. Stallion. He makes his plays, but in the end, I was just giving him,
You're just
hope,
giving
really,
giving him
anything.
giving him hope.
Yeah.
So in game 3 as well, we saw that the water spout came out from the Blastoise and did activate the water absorb from Seismitoad. Was it sort of any element of sort of like I don't know how you would phrase this, like, haha, I know what I've got, I know what you can't do anything now, was that sort of mind games in that sense?
I mean, not at all, really. No. You see, Mr. Star, when I play Pokemon, I like to think of it as a 4-dimensional game rather than a 3-dimensional one that you might be playing.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, inherently, I was going to bring, and countering it didn't really take much thought at all.
Right. So you were feeling pretty confident coming into this week then?
Like I say, our best team, I'm the best coach. Is there anything more to be said, Mr. Star?
Well, you did get handled a loss week 1, so, I think there's a bit of overconfidence on your side there, but we won't commentate on it too much. So, what strengths and weaknesses did you identify on the side of Lat that helped you sort of take the victory there? Obviously, you were able to sort of hold out against the Tailwind, even though you had speed control, and you were able to put a stop to that Talon Flame.
Well, you see, when I build my Pokemon teams, Mr. Star, I tend to value one Pokemon above all else.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for the poor lad, he didn't have it today because he didn't draft Wobbuffet. If he had, I'm sure I would have lost. However, he didn't. So, we take those.
So speaking of Wobbuffet, obviously you're going to be playing Dogsy next, and Dogsy does have that Wobbuffet. Does that mean you're feeling any kind of apprehension coming up against it?
Well, you see, not only does he have Wobbuffet, he also has Mr. Jürgen Hopp on his team.
He does
It's
indeed.
An issue.
Yeah. So how's Jürgen Hopp going to get around that, playing for both sides? Batting for both teams.
Well, I'm not sure if it violates any league code or anything, sportsmanship, playing for 2 different clubs. However, I like to think that we'll just win with the usual method of hitting them in the face very hard.
So you're just going to come all out with physical special attacks, just come out swinging? Is that the play?
I will tell you right now what is going to happen.
Okay,
I will
let's
lead
start
every game with Serena, Dragapult, and Dragapult will carry the game with Serena providing decent support with Queenly Majesty, and that's how we're going to win.
Okay. You're sounding very confident going into next week. So, looking at the season as a whole, how do you think your performances are being coming up to this game? Obviously, you're on a 2-game winning streak. You know, you're going to be feeling that confidence as is evidence. You know, how are you feeling going into
You might not be
the
able to tell this, Mr. Star, you know, but I'm actually not particularly confident in myself or the team. I just know that with round one, you know, we lost the match, but it was. I'd like to say it was due to having copious amounts of fun happy times on the night prior.
Oh, so
a
there'd
lot
been
of alcohol was
some partying.
consumed.
Hmm.
Yeah, a little bit of partying in lockdown, you know, responsibly, kiddos.
Oh, of course,
But
responsibly.
other than that, you know, yeah, I was about 700 feet away from anyone. I want to make extra sure.
Well, you know, you can't be too careful
Yeah,
in Pokemon. You might get Pokerus.
exactly. You never Pokerus.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this interview. Thank you very much for your time, Leo. I do appreciate it. And
Thank you, Mr. Star.
again,
Anytime.
congratulations on your winning, and good luck going into next week.
No need for the look, Mr. Star. We both know I'm going to win this tournament.
Okay, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. All right, that was our coach of Toadstar Belgrade, Leo. Sounding very, very, very confident going into next week. But that's all of our games for today. I really hope you've enjoyed all the matches. Again, thank you very much to Leo and Aaron for their interviews. I do really appreciate it. We'll of course be back next Sunday. But before we leave you, we're going to take a look at the league table. Obviously, this is the league table going into this week. Week 3, though, as you can see now, we've now got the updated colour coding of who's in at risk of going into the lower bracket, who's in the best position going into the winners bracket. Bulu Boys sitting seated first place after week 3, unbeaten at the moment with a +5 record, 3-0. Closely followed by Silly's Long Island Goomys, who obviously handed their first loss this week by Inglorious Surfers. Latvia's Miami Heat was also handed his first loss by Toadstar Belgrade. Toadstar Belgrade, coached by Weo, sitting just beneath them there in 4th. Dave's Newcastle Thundurus sat in 5th place. 2 losses in 2 weeks. I'm pretty positive he can bounce back from that. Dogsy Cheddar Kings sitting now in 6th after that first win of the season. Tied obviously between 5th and 7th. Inglorious Surfers sitting just below him from Aaron. Aaron obviously getting his first win of the season against top of the tables Long Island Goomys. Fantastic game. Probably my favourite game so far. It was really edge of the seat stuff. And planted at the root of the table is Aurora Akuno from Gus, who is 0-3. But as we say, we've still got another 4 weeks until free agency. We've got at least 9 weeks to go until playoffs. Anything can happen. But looking into next week fixtures, we'll be starting off. We've got, as we all talked about just there in the interview, we've got Toadstar Belgrade playing against Dogsy's Shadow Kings. Then Dave's Newcastle Thundurus will be playing against Inglorious Surfers. Dave will be looking to bounce back from that 2-loss streak. Aaron looking to build upon that win that he gained from this week. Third game of the week, we've got Matt's Bulu Boys sat there at the top of the table against Gus's Aurora Akuno, who'll be looking for that first victory. So we once again have a top versus bottom clash. And finally, we've got Latvians Miami Heat against Silly's Long Island Goomys, both sat on a 2-1 record. We'll be looking to bounce back from those defeats this week. That is sure to be a very close game. I'm sure we'll see a lot of game 3s again next week. But that is us for today. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in and watching. Really exciting games. Again, really, really happy with the way everyone played. Big ups to everyone who's taken part. Again, thank you all. And we'll be back 1 p.m. next Sunday for week 4 of the British Pokemon League. I've been your host, Matt Starr. Thank you very much for watching. Adieu.